then their lives are shortened. So these social workers, their profession should be recognized and also encouraged by a body which will have checks and balances, which will supervise whatever they do, and which will regulate and ensure that this is a proper institute. So with that, Madam Speaker, I congratulate Joshua Kimilu and say that this one came at the right time. Thank you.
Thank you. Before the next speaker, allow me to recognize in our public gallery students from a very interesting name here, Kamuongo Secondary School in Mwingi North from Kitui County. And I will indulge Honorable Makali Mulu to say something to the students.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is Kamuongo. That's the way we pronounce it down there. And on behalf of my colleague, Honorable Nzengu, because they come from Honorable Nzengu's constituency, I want to take this opportunity to welcome the teachers and the students to the National Assembly. It's good that they have come to see what we do in this assembly. My prayer that in future, one of them will be seated where we are seated, serving the nation. So best wishes, Kamuongo Secondary School, and most welcome. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, and on behalf of the Speaker and the whole House, we welcome you to observe the proceedings of the House. The last one that seemed to be interested in this bill will be Member for Embakasi West, Honorable Mark Mwenje.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. From the outset, let me congratulate the Honorable Kimilu for bringing this very important bill. Honorable Speaker, the issue of social workers, especially in developed countries, they have a very well-established system. If you look, whether it is in Europe, whether you look the countries such as the UK, Germany, if you go to the US, social workers are the backbone of especially the vulnerable in those societies. Here in Kenya, Honorable Speaker, I want to acknowledge that the only place you find social workers are in hospitals. We have them in Mama Lucy Hospital, we have them in Kenyatta Hospital, we have them in KU referral, and when they come in is usually at the point of people have a hospital bill, they are trying to pay that bill, they can't raise those funds, and these matters are referred to these social workers. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a framework of how they can assist these vulnerable communities. In fact, without these social workers in some of these hospitals, you can have bodies, especially for those who are deceased, lying there for months. In fact, in the private hospitals here in Nairobi, without these social workers, because they don't have this system of social workers, we have hospitals that hold on to bodies for 6 months. I have a case in my constituency. I don't want to mention the hospital here, but we've been unable, there's a bill of 500,000. This family is living in a room where they pay 2,500 per month, and you expect them to raise this money? It's not going to happen. So this is such an important bill because it will spread now not just to the hospitals, the hospital bills where they've been working so far, but to be able, even the issue of social protection. We have the Inua Jamii, these cash transfers. It should be social workers going around establishing these vulnerable members of our community, ensuring they get this support. When it comes to issues of bursaries, you know, when we do bursaries, we allow everyone to apply for bursaries. But we all know there are people who deserve perhaps a bigger share of what we give as bursaries. Here in Nairobi, we're only able to give 5,000, maybe 10,000 to orphans. But we know there are people who need a bit more. These social workers will be the ones who will help us. And more importantly, they'll be able to upgrade the CHPs who have been doing such a commendable job. But we need these CHPs to now become trained social workers who are able to work within our communities. This is, it's time we push out, even as much as the NGOs do a lot of work. But the government must now come in and take this space. We allow this space to be taken over by various NGOs who've been doing a commendable job, but unfortunately, they will never be able to do what the government is elected or is supposed to do for the vulnerable communities. So I believe this is such a timely bill that has been brought forward. I believe there are a few amendments which I hope the Kimilu will allow us to help strengthen this bill as we activate it, because I believe this will be a game changer for the vulnerable members of our community. With that, I support. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. As had been guided earlier, we had said that if you intend to speak on this, you'll use the intervention button. So I have seen some more who have walked in. Honorable Makali Mulu.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for this opportunity. At the same time, take this opportunity to thank Honorable Kimilu for this important bill, the bill on social workers. Honorable Speaker, during our time in the university, we used to do sociology as a subject, and then there are people doing social work, which means you get more specialized on issues to do with social matters. So this is a group of people who have been trained for many years, over many years in the universities. And the proposal by Honorable Kimilu is to have a regulatory framework for them so that they can have the whole discipline of social work being regulated. So the reason why I appreciate him is because over the years, we have never had this kind of bill coming to this house or been passed by the house. Honorable Speaker, this house, we have many acts of parliament which regulate different disciplines. We have laws for the lawyers, we have some for the doctors, and when it comes to the medical field, we have actually very many because we have some for nurses. I remember the other day we passed some even for the community health workers. So, Honorable Speaker, this is a step towards the right direction. And why this bill becomes very important is because now we'll be able to know who is a qualified social worker in this country. And social workers do play a very key role in this country in terms matters relating to our people. For example, Honorable Speaker, you now know very well that with the share and the sheep, there has been this controversial kind of issue dealing with assessment, where people are going to their mobile phones, and once you fill your details, it tells you how much you should be able to pay. Some are complaining that they are being given very high figures, others are getting very low figures. And what has been happening is that there's been an attempt by many people to see how they can manipulate the system to get the low amounts. But naturally, Honorable Speaker, this should be the work of a social worker. Somebody who can go down there and then assess based on the characteristics of a household and determine where that household also should be. At the same time, following up on what Honorable Mwenja has said, we are using social workers in hospitals to determine the capacity of families to pay. And I can for sure say, Honorable Speaker, many times when my people end up in Kenyatta, we've seen these social workers becoming handy, that they are able to talk to the families, and based on that, they will recommend a waiver of the bills. And this has been of much assistance to the families. So, Honorable Speaker, I think really this bill becomes very important. The only caution I want to do, and this is now the new way of doing it, in the earlier days, some of these associations have been drawing money from the consolidated fund, where they have been funded. I think now the way forward is, since it's a membership kind of club, we'll be requesting Honorable Kimilu to make sure that they will not be expected to draw any money from the exchequer, but through their own contributions, they can sustain whatever association they will be forming. But all said and done, Honorable Speaker, this is a very important bill, and we must thank Honorable Kimilu for coming up with this initiative. And I look forward to where it can be fast-tracked so that we get this becoming an act of parliament. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Thank you. Member for Central Imenti, Honorable Kirima. Honorable Rahim, break the Kamukunji.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First and foremost, Madam Speaker, I support the bill on the Institute of Social Work Professionals Bill. It's one of 2023. of which I see that the sponsor of the bill, my colleague Honorable Kimil, has done a good thing. Because, Madam Speaker, if I go through the bill as I have seen it, other than the lack of description of who is a social worker, how other things look okay, because it enriches our system of the law to cater for the social work through the Institute of Social Work, whereby if we have an Institute of Social Workers, they are going to be professionally trained. At the moment they get that professional and then get the certificate of which they can practice what they have been trained, they can even earn some remuneration out of the work they are going to be doing. Social workers, Honorable Speaker, are people who really do work in a form of a voluntary form of system, even though they are engaged by the government to do the same. They work at very hard conditions, because if in some circumstances, let's say a court of law aside a social worker to go to a place to assess the person who has been charged and is waiting to be adjudged by the court, the social worker is going to go in some places which are very remote and unfavorable places of working conditions. And at the end of the day, the social worker sometimes is exposed, even security-wise. It's a risky situation, for if one is sent maybe by an institution like a court to go and assess a person who has been committing some crime, and these crimes sometimes are violent crimes, and this social work has not been provided with people who are armed to protect the social worker, the court can, this parliament can imagine the kind of a risk which the social worker is undergoing through, so that at least he can meet the obligations of the institution which is sending him. So, Madam Speaker, we have different types of social workers, because like the ones who at this material time and are engaged by the county and the national government to go out our homes assessing those people who have minor illnesses, those who are carrying out assessment, or those who are carrying out to establish those with diabetes, blood pressure, and so on. They are doing it as social workers. Now, for people who are social workers, it's a broad spectrum of workers. Even the people whom we call area managers or sub-areas, they are doing social work. They are social workers. They are social workers because nobody is paying them. They are doing it for the social society, just for purposes of the society. So the description here of why I am saying that we need to describe who is a social worker is so that we can be able to encompass, to include all those who are doing social work for free. For now, nobody is paying them, but they are doing it for social services to the society. And as for that, I support this bill, Madam Speaker, and I say echo to the mob of the same. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Member for Narok North, Honorable Pareyo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this bill. And before I go on, I would like to congratulate Joshua Mill for bringing this bill. This is a very important bill because it talks of the people who are at the grassroots level, who are with the people.
For the record, it's Joshua Kimilu, not Mwilu.
Kimwilu.
Kimilu.
Thank you. And I'm happy to see this bill because I work with the communities at the grassroots level. And once we have promoted these social workers, these are the people who are going to be advisors to our people. And our people will have people to run to. Because there are communities that are still practicing female genital mutilation. There are communities that are still forcing their daughters to be married. And sometimes these people have nobody to run to. So these should be professionals well-trained people who can guide and advise and who can also counsel these people when they have problems. So for that reason, I support the bill and feel that the welfare of these people should be looked into so that they can also have their salaries, they can also be recognized amongst the community because they will be working with our communities. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me that opportunity.
Thank you. Member for Kasipul, Honorable Bara.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. But first, I think, I don't know what we are going to do to make the name of my constituency
Kabondo Kasipul.
stick in the minds of, it is actually Kabondo Kasipul.
Yes.
Kasipul is a different constituency. Thank you very much, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to also talk on this bill. On onset, let me also congratulate our colleague, Honorable Kimilu, for coming up with the bill. Madam Chair, we all know the kind of work that the social worker does in a community. The challenges that face the people in the community, the first person, the contact person is the social worker. Madam Speaker, I want to say at this point that the impact of these people within the community cannot be understated. Therefore, Honorable Kimilu, I think this was a good idea that should have been there like yesterday. What you're proposing here of establishing a regulatory framework for social work professionals is welcome. Madam Speaker, the key issues that he has picked are very, very important. Formalizing the work of the professionals or coming up with a structured way in which they can be managed is something that should have been done, and I'm happy that he has come up with it. One, on the highlights that I want to pick up is the establishment of the Institute of Social Work Profession. Who are they? What are their qualifications? If you want to recruit or employ somebody, what do you need to look at? At what level are they supposed to enter? So this is what is taken care of in the establishment of the Institute of Social Work Profession. Second one is the registration and licensing of social worker. It is critical that they are licensed so that we know who they are and whatever area that they are in, be it medical, be it agriculture, be it whatever it is, that we are able to trace them through the registration. And only certified. Of course, we also know that there are many quacks around. So only the certified social workers are allowed to practice. This aims to ensure that only qualified individuals provide social work services, thereby improving the quality of social welfare support to our people. The third one, the most interesting thing here, is on the Code of Ethics and Disciplinary Measures. The bill outlines the Code of Ethics to social work professionals with a clear guideline. Madam Speaker, I have also seen that they have taken care of the professional development and training standards. So this bill continues professional development for social workers. The same way in which the lawyers have their continuing development studies, also lawyers, accountants, and all these people, because learning is a continuous process. And therefore, people will be expected to continuing improving and adapting new ways of doing things, and this is what this professional development and training standards is going to do. The other one is the profession of social work research and advocacy. Madam Speaker, the Institute will be responsible for promoting research and advocacy in social work. This is very, very important, focusing on evidence-based practices and policies that address the social issues that affect our people. By supporting research and advocacy, the bill aims to strengthen the role of social work in national development and social policy formulation. Madam Speaker, as I've said earlier, that the work of the social worker has not been properly respected within our communities. Establishment of standards for social work education
The bill sets to set minimum standards for educational institutions offering social work programs to ensure consistent, high-quality training across the field. These standards are intended to create a uniform foundation of knowledge and skills for the social work graduates entering the profession. Therefore, Madam Speaker, once again, I support and I thank the honorable member for coming up with a bill, and I request that it be considered for adoption finally, so that it is an act in place. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Member for Igembe Central, Honorable Carrido.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to address on this very important bill, the Act of Parliament providing for the establishment of the Institute of Social Work and Social Work Professional Board. Madam Speaker, may I also congratulate the member who introduced this bill. It's very important. Madam Speaker, social workers play a very crucial and important role in the society, especially in enlightening the communities, assisting the vulnerables, and being an integral part of the society. Madam Speaker, it's very important that we have a board that is regulating this institution, which is very crucial. We need, the mover of the bill, as indicated, we need to regulate it to have people who know what they are doing and who are professional in that field. For example, we have the social workers who move around our villages testing on our status, health status. Those who check on our pressure, the sugar levels, and other ailments. It's good that we have people who are tested and proven so that they give the correct information to the ministry and to the government on the status of the society in health matters. Madam Speaker, we have some social workers who play a very crucial role even in our hospitals. We have social workers who identify. There are some vulnerable families who lose even their loved ones. They are detained in mortuaries, and those social workers go extra mile to establish the financial capacity of the bereaved so that they can be assistant in matters to waive their bills. So these people are very important, and it's good that they get regulated. We have a board that is establishing them and running them so that we have services, the right services given to the right people. Madam Speaker, I support.
Very well. Ruko, member from Mbeere North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I first want to congratulate the member for coming up with this very important bill. As you look into this bill, Madam Speaker, you realize it is aimed at stimulating the social work sector, which is a key sector and which will enhance, especially the young people, the youth, into entering into the profession. Just like other professions, like lawyers, institutes or bankers, they all have bodies which regulate them, which help the growth of the sector, and this bill will aim or will help in stimulating the social work sector. Madam Speaker, also the bill is very important in ensuring that promote professional development and growth of the members who would have to maintain the quality and the quality of professional standard and practice in this sector. Madam Speaker, it's also important to note that it will create policies, the bill will help in creating policies which will advance the development, and in that case will help in scrutinizing the government policies so that they can support the social workers. Madam Speaker, you realize we have witnessed in this country unrest in our institution, in secondary schools, universities, and other institutions. Once this bill comes to law, we'll see professionals who can help in this sector as far as ensuring there are minimal unrest within our institutions, especially the education system or the education sector, so that everything can run in a well-guided manner. Therefore, this bill is key in unifying the social worker professions, strengthening the social work practice, and promoting the development of social work standard, as well as advocating for the social policies that will advance the social justice and, of course, human rights. With these remarks, Madam Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Very well. Mayor for North Imenti, Honorable Dawood.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on the outset, I want to support Honorable Joshua Kimilu on this bill, the Social Work Professionals Bill. Madam Speaker, I've looked at the bill, and it's a good bill, the creating of an institute. I have an issue with the examination which Honorable Member has proposed in this bill. Madam Speaker, we know that a lot of social workers are there, may not have the qualifications, or they may have been doing it over time. And we need now to think about acquired expertise, like what we are saying. Many people may not have gone through college or university, but they have got the experience of the job they are doing. So, Madam Speaker, I would want to put it to the Honorable Member to think forward so that people who are professionals in their own right without any qualification to be given prior knowledge certificates so that they can be registered in this professionals bill. Madam Speaker, it says that to be a member of this body, they should have good conduct. That is good. Definitely, you have to be of good conduct to be doing social work. Madam Speaker, he has even said to pay the prescribed fees. Madam Speaker, that leaves a big leeway on what the prescribed fees would be. I would have wished if he would have said a certain amount, which will not be out of what somebody can afford, because you can make it, a fee would be so high that somebody will not be able to pay and then not be registered. Madam Speaker, it says, even goes on to say in C, that has successfully undergone a prescribed certificate, diploma, degree, or research course of instruction and has passed the appropriate exam. So that is where I would want him to change. Madam Speaker, social work professionals are very important in that they keep the cohesiveness of this country. They work where nobody else wants to work, and mostly they are unpaid. So I would wish that we would be able to put a figure to what, if you are employed or if you are doing social work, how much would you be expecting at the end of the month or at the end of the day to be getting out of it, besides the gratification that you get for doing good job. So, Madam Speaker, I think if the Honourable Member could probably think about the education aspect and the prescribed fees together with the remuneration, it would be very good. And I think if at the next stage, I will be suggesting amendments to this bill. Hopefully, I agree it is a very good bill, Mheshimiwa, and our people, the social professionals, this institute will do well. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and best of luck to the member.
Honourable members, there being no more interest on this bill, I will therefore call Honourable Joshua Kimilu to reply.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. And before I reply, I want to congratulate all the members who supported the bill And I want to thank them because it has a lot of interest, and they give good suggestions and for the amendments, because it's very important for us to make sure the bill, as it becomes to law, it's well polished, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, of the concern of the Honorable Dahoud about the examinations, Madam Speaker, in the bill we have taken care of that, and I'll talk to him after this and make sure that he understands everything on the examination issue. Madam Speaker, I also want to say that as most of the members have contributed, it is true, Madam Speaker, the social workers are all over in this country, especially when you go to the hospitals, as some members are saying that they do a lot of work and contribute to the society through, some of them are just volunteered, and Madam Speaker, the time has come for us to put all this in order so that they can benefit, and also we can make sure that we regulate, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this bill of social work profession, Madam Speaker, is an umbrella because it covers all sectors of social workers, Madam Speaker. And it will be a very important bill because we won't come up with so many bills of every kind, like social workers in the hospital, they come with their bill. Those in other sectors like courts, they come with their bill. The bill covers all the social workers as a whole. And Madam Speaker, I think this bill becoming a law, it will save a lot to this country, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I want also to thank Kenyans for their support they gave during making of this bill. I want also to thank some of the lecturers who have been working through with me on making of this bill, Madam Speaker, coming up with the bill. And they give a very good suggestion and contribution. Also, I can't fail to thank one of the lecturers who is in the gallery, Madam Phyllis, for following the proceeding of the House, Madam Speaker. And she also supported this bill when we were trying to come up with the bill. Madam Speaker, much has said, Madam Speaker, and I want to also thank my constituents, Kait constituency. Madam Speaker, I got so many calls. People are calling from my constituency, congratulating me, and I want to thank them for the support they're giving me. And I want to tell them I'm ready to work for them, and also I'm here to make sure that all their interests are well covered, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, I want to reply, and Madam Speaker, before I reply, Madam Speaker, pass one to standing order number 53. I request that putting of the question to be deferred, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I reply.
Thank you very much. We will put the question in the next appointed time. Honorable members, we'll therefore go to the next order. Move to the next order.
Order number 9, the Gold Processing Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2023, second reading.
Honorable Bernard Shinali.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Gold Processing Bill, Bill National Assembly number 46 of 2023, be read a second time. Honorable Speaker, when I introduced this bill, this Gold Processing Bill, I did with the main purpose of being to create a legal and institutional framework for gold processing in Kenya. The import of this bill is to revise scope and application of Mining Act number 12 of 2026 so as to exclude the exploration and exploitation of gold from the ambit of the Mining Act. The objectives of the bill, Honorable Speaker, the Gold Processing Bill seeks to create a legal framework for collecting, purifying, smelting, fabricating, homogenizing, sampling, registering, monitoring, and transporting of gold or gold products. Additionally, The bill will establish an institutional framework for collecting, purifying, smelting, fabricating, homogenizing, sampling, registering, monitoring, and transportation of coal or coal products. Specifically, the bill sets out 3 things. The first one, establish regulatory mechanism of gold processing activity. The second one is to create the Gold Processing Corporation. And lastly, align Kenya's gold processing with the international standards. Honorable Speaker, Part 2 of the bill seeks to establish the Gold Processing Corporation to oversee gold processing that entails collecting, purifying, smelting, fabricating, homogenizing, sampling, registering, monitoring, and transporting of gold or gold process or gold products. The corporation will also establish, regulate Kenya's national gold standards and facilitate international accreditation of gold refineries while producing research for the development of gold mining value chain in Kenya. With the current processing results showing presence of huge deposits of gold in Kenya, we are going to see investment of large-scale miners. However, miners in Kenya largely operate without environmental and mining permits as a result of unrealistic and proper policies and regulations, as well as lack systems to enforce the current laws on this sector, coupled with lack of incentives to miners to comply with the legal requirements. The bill seeks to provide for proper infrastructure for enforcement and incentives for artisanal, small-scale miners and large-scale miners, addressing the gap between policy and reality in the sector. Honorable Speaker, establishment of an institutional framework ensures oversight, better resource management, and policy implementation while fostering collaboration across counties and national government to work together on gold processing and resource policies. Formalization speaks not only to presence of legislation, but the activation and enforcement of it by authorities and the extent of their success. Honorable Speaker, activation of such a policy depends to large extent on complex institutional administrational structures at national and local levels, which this bill provides. The bill establishes a gold processing corporation for persons and companies licensed to operate gold processing plants in various parts of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, this kind of legislation framework, Kenya will operationalize its first international accredited gold refinery. This will make the country's gold visible in the international markets, as the refinery will seek to uniquely fabricate our gold. Highly processed gold can be sold in high premium markets internationally. Honorable Speaker, in comparative jurisdictions analysis, it is established that Russia, the 5th largest producer of gold globally, recently passed a bill on gold mining, free delivery, adding on its general mining laws to cover specifically the regulation of gold mining and processing. The country saw the need to encourage the individual miners to get into the business of gold mining and processing to increase revenues from gold production and increase job creation. Similarly, Honorable Speaker, Sudan has seen gold contributions to GDP increase to over 20%, up from 1% after establishment of a gold refinery to handle gold processing in the country. Currently, gold accounts for more than half of Sudan's exports, making it fourth largest producer in Africa. What's happening in Russia and Sudan is due to realization that countries with huge gold reserves provide for its management through their treasury and enjoy the critical role it plays in supporting countries' economy and stabilizing of their currency. Honorable Speaker, comprehensive regulations of the gold sector in Kenya would enable the country accumulate a gold reserve and eventually benefit from it. Gold reserves attract foreign exchange, contribute to financial stability, unify exchange rates, and contribute to the global influence as a country has. Countries with gold reserve often have regulations governing the exploration, extraction, and processing of gold. These laws, just like gold processing bill, will address environmental protection, safety standards, and permits required for mining operations. In Kenya, the Mining Act number 12 of 2016 provides for the exploration and extraction of gold, while the enactment of the Gold Refinery Bill 2023, Gold Processing Bill 2023, would now provide a comprehensive law of gold processing. Honorable Speaker, increased revenue by regulating and formalizing gold processing Kenya, gold processing, Kenya would generate significant revenue from taxes, licenses, and royalties, as seen in case of Sudan. The bill also proposes value addition through the gold processing locally. This will add value to our gold, thus increasing the earnings compared to exporting unprocessed minerals, and specifically gold, which is actually exporting our jobs as well. Further, Honorable Speaker, a structured framework encourages both local and international investors to engage in gold processing and related industry. This bill will create a conducive environment for financial and government institutions to support gold mining activities in Kenya through funding facilities. Honorable Speaker, the bill will help us establish a framework to cap illegal gold transportation through our porous borders to black markets. The sale of gold to black markets makes us miss out on revenue and investment opportunities to create jobs for our citizens. With this bill, the country can combat illegal gold mining, gold smuggling, and environmental degradation that can be serious threat to our national security and environment. Honorable Speaker, lack of proper structures like cooperatives to bring together Etsino and small-scale miners has resulted in failure to give royalties to gold-producing areas. This leaves gold-producing areas impoverished with little to no transformation. With the bill, we are establishing a clear mechanism to track gold and get royalties back to the gold-producing areas to spur socio-economic development while enhancing the country's revenue to run government initiatives across the country. Honorable Speaker, the gold processing plants proposed in the bill will stimulate the economy for job creation and skills development, especially for our youth especially for our youth. Job opportunities will be created in the gold processing plant. This framework will enhance international competitiveness, economic growth, and enhance standards, thus strengthening our gold mining industry for long-term benefits. I strongly urge this House to pass this bill so as to consolidate Kenya's position and competitiveness in gold mining and bring benefits to our communities in regions endowed with the gold. Honorable Speaker, with those remarks, I beg to move the bill and request the Honorable MP for Shinyalu, Honorable Ikana, to second. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you.
Honorable member for Shinyalu. Yes, give him the mic.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I rise to second this very important bill that has been proposed by my brother and neighbor, Honorable Shinali, on gold processing. Madam Speaker, allow me to start by restating a very well-known fact that Kenya is a very rich country in the amount of gold deposits that are spread across the country. The gold deposits in the country are spread and are not limited to just Shinyalu and Ikolomani. There are many gold deposits in Migori, Turkana, and many other parts of this country. Madam Speaker, I want to second this bill because it creates a framework through which we shall ensure that our young people, that our investors who are in this field of gold mining will generate resources and gain full value that the potential that exists in this sector can provide. Madam Speaker, one of the very key issues that is being addressed by this bill is the issue of sustainability and safety. You realize that every so often there have been incidents of many deaths that are occasioned by collapsing gold mines, not just in Shinyalu, but also across the country. Through this bill, the issue of safety has been very well addressed, and we are hopeful that if this parliament enables us to enact this legislation, we shall ensure that the safety of our young men who are involved in gold mining is safeguarded, their lives are safeguarded. Number two, Madam Speaker, you realize that even those who are engaged in this business, most of them get exploited by the bigger players. Why is that so? It's because we don't have sufficient legislation that will safeguard their interest in ensuring that the value attained from the raw materials that they extract from the gold deposits is accrued back to them. This gold refinery bill shall ensure that the gold that is sold from this country is actually sold in processed form and not as raw materials, thus generating foreign exchange for the country, creating additional employment positions for our many unemployed youths, stabilizing our currency that has been volatile before, and ultimately, I am very confident that through the additional resources generated by our country, we shall be able to reduce our very huge debt burden to our taxpayers. Madam Speaker, you will also note that we have given specific countries that have undertaken similar legislation, and we have seen the benefit that have been accrued by those legislations. We have given an example of Russia and Sudan, and we know that if we follow through the same paths, the contribution of gold to our GDP shall significantly increase. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I second this very important bill. Thank you.
Very well. Honorable members, I therefore propose the question that the Gold Processing Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2023 be read a second time. The first chance I'll give to member for Kakamega, Honorable Elsie.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this chance to put my voice to this bill. First of all, I want to thank the Honorable Shinali for raising such an important bill, noting that, Madam Speaker, I come from this area. I was born in Bushangala, and this is an area that will greatly benefit from this bill. Madam Speaker, this bill touches on research and development. Right now, Madam Speaker, gold mining, both in Shinyalu, Ikolomani, and other areas, is being done in a very unstructured manner. And Madam Speaker, sadly, recently, we lost our dear brothers. We lost Franklin Alulu from Ishitoli area. We lost Isaac Ligami from Lirembe. We lost Boniface Alubala from Shinyalu during the mining. And the reasons being that they are mining in crude areas. They are mining where, if you go to those mining places, the gold shafts are not safe. These miners are mining without proper artisanal skills. And while we lost these members, Madam Speaker, even the rescue, it was difficult to rescue them because we do not have rescue skills. So, Madam Speaker, I do support this bill, and I know it will go a long way in supporting our miners all over Kenya who are doing it in a very unstructured way. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Very well. The next chance will go to the Chair, Departmental Committee on Environment, Forestry and Mining, Honorable Gekaria.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. From the onset, let me thank my brother, Berat Shinali, from Ikolomani, Member of Parliament Ikolomani, for bringing this very important. Honorable Speaker, we have, as a country, where mining has not been taken seriously. And Honorable Speaker, what Honorable Shinali has done will go a long way in transforming and regulating the mining sector. Honorable Speaker, it has come to our notice, and I want to thank His Excellency the President for accepting to have a police unit within the ministry. And not only the police unit now, they have even brought a DCI unit. Honorable Speaker, most of our precious minerals get their way out of this country, particularly gold, just to name as a precious our strategic mineral. Honorable Speaker, it is unfortunate that our gold is continued being smuggled out of this country, and we only get very little money out of. But what Honorable Shinali's the gold processing, that is before us, will go a long way to address this problem. Honorable Speaker, the functions of a cooperation that has been mentioned in that will include to collect samples, purify, smelt, fabricate, register, refine, and monitor, and transport. And Honorable Speaker, that is what has been lacking, to an extent where our gold, most of it is taken out of this country raw as it is, and we don't get value. And as Honorable Ikana had indicated, as a committee, we were projecting to have around the mining sector contributing significantly in the GDP. Honorable Speaker, the national standard for operating a gold refinery has been stipulated very clearly in that bill. And we had an opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to visit a few countries, including China. And we saw what was happening, and this could go a long way in assisting even the locals, Honorable Speaker, particularly the artisanal miners. Honorable Speaker, you understand how the process of getting gold from underground. Honorable Speaker, it has been done haphazardly. And as a ministry, they came up with even to start cooperations or cooperatives for the artisanal miners so that they can be able to reap the maximum benefit away from the middlemen who usually come. You find a gram of gold that an artisanal miner has that goes maybe in the market for around 40,000. The middlemen just offer some 5,000, 3,000, and it is becoming unacceptable, Honorable Speaker. So the international accreditation, as Honorable Shinali has indicated in his bill, will help this country not only gold that will be gotten from Kenya or mined here in Kenya, then we can also have our neighboring countries. If you have your gold, then it can come here for purposes of processing and accreditation. It will give Kenya a very, very strong position in the country. Honorable Speaker, some of the funds which will go towards that, and that was the question that was being asked, Honorable Speaker, is that why are we are trying to minimize the wage bill. Where are we going to get these funds? Honorable Speaker, these monies will be, we'll ask the National Assembly to allocate money for this purpose. And of course, the corporation again will have a way of receiving gifts, grants, donation, so that it can be able to sustain itself. Honorable Speaker, the bill contains provisions relating to application of processing license. And this is again something that you find today. You ask for a license to trade in gold. Honorable Speaker, it takes you years for you to get a license that only costs 2,000 shillings. Then you have to be taken, I don't know from which office to what corner. So this bill has simplified that you will get, I know of a colleague who has been trying to get this license for the last 25 years. Actually, he came to my office complaining and said, but we told them, just give us time. Once this bill goes through, then it simplifies the process of you getting a license to trade or to do the actual processing of gold. Honorable Speaker, my committee had an opportunity to do public participation, Honorable Speaker, and we placed an advert. The clerk placed an advert in our local diaries on the 20th of October 2023. Honorable Speaker, it was for a purpose of people giving their memoranda towards this as enshrined in Article 118(1)(b) of the Constitution and the Standing Order number 123C. Honorable Speaker, we invited the State Department of Mining and also the National Gender and Equity Commission for them to be able to give their views. Additionally, Honorable Speaker, my committee visited Kericho, Kakamega, Migori, Kilifi, Taita Taveta, Kwale, where we got oral submission from the people who are, and we had a very wonderful conversation, particularly with the artisanal miners. And Honorable Speaker, they were very happy that this bill would be going, if it goes through, it is going to address most of the problems that they were undergoing, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we considered the bill with a lot of thoughts, and we undertook, I think, not less than 8 meetings for us to be able to arrive at the conclusion that it was important for this bill to find its way on the floor of this House, and then we can be able to make progress. Honorable Speaker, if you look at, we had an opportunity to visit South Africa. They usually have a very big expo on mining only, particularly on gold, purely on gold. And Honorable Speaker, if you look what the South Africans, what they have done and the amount of money that what the mining sector, particularly the gold aspect, contributes to GDP, Honorable Speaker, you will not believe it. Because all we just need, we have so much gold in this country. After we spend so much money on the aerial geosurvey, and we found out we have 971 different minerals. And out of that, Honorable Speaker, 27 are called strategic minerals. One of them is the gold. And I want to say these strategic minerals, if we are able now to enact, because we have some amendments in the Mining Act to incorporate the 27 strategic minerals, this country we will never, just like any other, we will never be asking money from the ministry. Actually, the contribution will go upwards of almost up to around 7 to 8% contribution of gold only. And it's only about what the country is going to get. Honorable Speaker, the royalties that will be received will go back to benefit the county governments and the locals who are actually undertaking this business. And for you, Honorable Speaker, as we also talk about this, I know it is a process that we are trying to minimize so that, again, you don't have a lot of, because for you, if you want to do the gold business, then it is very cumbersome that you have to get consent from the owner of the land, the county government, and people are getting a lot of frustrations from county government for them to be able to get those licenses to start operating. So again, we are trying to simplify, where if I am interested in doing some business in the gold sector, then I should not spend more than the 25 years only to get a license that you require. So with those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I totally support my brother Bernard Shinali for coming up with such a very, very good bill that will go and address most, and not only, we are not talking out of the 971. We start with gold, and then we can be able to bring the other minerals thereafter. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support.
Thank you. Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I must start by appreciating the Honorable Shinali for coming up with such a progressive bill as far as a very precious mineral is concerned, and that is the gold. Honorable Speaker, I speak as a person who has some little interest in such area and with practical experience of what we go through as people who engage in such business. To run this business, Honorable Speaker, is in itself, even assembling the machinery and even the people and everything that comes with it, is an uphill task. Right from purchasing land, there is something, Honorable Speaker, that is called the prospecting license, where there is no substantive one, where you get an individual acquiring a huge tract of land in one particular area. I mean, acquiring a huge area in terms of the prospecting license. You get, for example, in places like Siaya, places like some place in Kakamega County, Honorable Speaker, a place called Kitigu, where you get a person having, a single person having such prospecting licenses from the Ministry of Mining because of lack of harmony and lack of cohesion between different departmental heads, or rather different departments of government, or even county government and national government. A person gets that prospecting license in one large area. An innocent buyer of land acquires that piece of land without the knowledge that that particular land has got some gold mine beneath the land that is bought, is acquired. And when this person decides to start investing in that particular area, you get this huge person, a person who picked the prospecting licenses, head in arms, coming with police officers, mining officers saying, I'm the only one who is supposed to mine in this area. You've got to give me this amount of money for you to mine in your own land that you've acquired in that area, because that prospecting license is given to particular people. And that is the challenge you're having. Then there is the question of the county government, like the Honorable Gikari has said. There are other licenses that you've got to pursue from the county governments. In fact, nowadays, and I'll be very particular in one of the county governments, they sometimes introduce particular levies to particular miners because there is no, the system is not synchronized. I dare say, for example, Honorable Speaker, that about 2 weeks ago, some small company that I have an interest in, Honorable Speaker, was told to remit about 20,000 for transportation of materials from where the stones are being picked to the processing site. And that is only limited to that particular company. And it's in Kakamega County, Honorable Speaker. So those are the challenges that people who engage in this business are doing. And sometimes, Honorable Speaker, we also have very huge investors or foreigners coming into this place, in our land, Honorable Speaker. They engage the locals. They again call themselves artisan miners, using our young people without particulars, without proper structures. There are no, this whole system, Honorable Speaker, hasn't been synchronized in a way that you can know who takes what, who should be paid what are the risks. Because getting even to the reef, it's a different world altogether. Honorable Speaker, I'll confess, people go deep, several meters, Honorable Speaker, and there is a different world altogether down there, where we have even new street lighting down there, Honorable Speaker, and that is in the process of looking for that precious gold. The risk that comes with that needs to be checked, and that is why this bill is very important. Even on the amendments, there are so many things that we really need to look at, because I have taken keen interest in this business, Honorable Speaker, for the past 7 years, and I know what it takes. So I have seen people taking advantage of lack of knowledge or lack of exposure of our young people back in those areas where we have such precious stone. And because I've been keen on this industry, Honorable Speaker, I know we have that precious stone in Vihiga. I know we've got that precious stone in Siaya County, Honorable Speaker. And although we have, in Ndrongo, it's very limited, that is Migori. Although in Ndrongo, we largely have the copper in the part of the border between ourselves and the other ones. I've tried to engage in that line too, Honorable Speaker. But the process of even getting this, to date, there is not a single person with a mining license, a pure mining license. What the issue, Honorable Speaker, is actually the processing license. So you process, you have a license of processing, the processing license, but you have no mining license. What you have is a prospecting mining license. So where do they expect you to get this particular product, or rather these stones, so that you can be able to process? They give you such. And then we also have cartels in the business who sponsor, they sponsor people to take investors in court. They take they use the police officers and such. This bill is going to realign the systems of operations of the mining sector, of the gold mining. We have a precious stone, Honorable Speaker, in this country. And I confess, it is actually, in some areas, it gets up to 89%. In Siaya, it's almost at 92%, Honorable Speaker. In Vihiga, it's about 86%. So this is a place that you can really invest in. And this will be able to help. We have a reef in Kitui, Honorable Speaker, that is not tapped. And the county government declines to give licenses because they have no clear structures. They decline to even dispose of such particular pieces of land. So I particularly came to this, displayed my interest in this bill, Honorable Speaker, because
I have the vast experience on what this whole thing is about, and I want to congratulate the Honorable Shinali and tell him that going forward, as we move to the next step, we must put our hands together, right from the point of acquiring the lands, to the point of licensing, to the point of processing, and to the point of safety, and finally to the point of disposal and sell, and selling, and of course, export. Because even in that line, also, Honorable Speaker, is also a challenge. We've got a lot of middlemen and conmen midway when you are doing the exports. We've got so many people. By the time you want to dispose of 1 kg of gold, Honorable Speaker, in this country, trust me, you will have lost a lot of money in terms of paperwork. Oh, you need this stamp. Oh, you need this. You need to go to this place. Oh, somebody else needs to sign. So unless you become a crook, you may not sell your gold. You'll end up making losses as much. And that is the element that we must include in this particular bill. With that, Honorable Speaker, I want to congratulate Honorable Shinali and say that we support entirely, and we will be, going forward, we'll make sure that we harmonize such laws to befit the interest of the people and the investors too. Don't chase away investors. Don't own up the land and say, this is my land, you can't just come. Embrace them and let them grow, let us grow together as a people. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Migori. Member for Migori.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I come from a gold mine area, which is called Makalda Mines, which is in Nyateke sub-county in Migori County. So gold is very dear to me. My house is, I think, five or less minutes walk to the gold site in Nyateke. Madam Speaker, there are so many challenges, and I want to congratulate the Honorable Member, Honorable Bernard, for bringing this bill. I support it in totality. Would there be any amendments that would help us? Kindly allow the amendments to take place. Madam Speaker, the small-scale miners all over the country, not only in Nyatike, are really frustrated when it comes to being given licenses. Initially, the licenses for the small-scale miners was 20,000. It was moved to 500,000. And these are young people who do not have any other source of income, being subjected without notice to pay 500,000. In other words, the government is trying to say gold mining is for the rich and the poor should just be their workers. Madam Speaker, we have a county committee, small-scale miners association, something like that. But the mandate is not given to the county government. The mandate and all the functions are put in the national government. So what is the essence of having this committee when all the decisions are made at the national government, yet the small-scale miners live down at the county level? Madam Speaker, to apply for a license, you have to go to the portal to apply. Majority of these small-scale miners have not gone to school, and probably where they live, there is no electricity, there is no network for internet, and they are forced to apply through a portal. I think that is disadvantage to our young people who do mining. Madam Speaker, when it comes to royalty, in the last year,
Continue, Honorable Fatuma.
in the last year, royalty that was supposed to be divided in this country was 8 billion. Madam Speaker, the 8 billion was only given to Taita Taveta, Kilifi, and Mombasa County, leaving out Migori County, Samburu, and Garissa, and the rest of the country that do mining. Madam Speaker, I would like to put it across that Migori County in Nyatike sub-county, we have blue sapphire, we have copper, we have gold, we have so many minerals, yet we got nothing. The county received nothing, the small-scale miners got nothing. I think it is very unfair if we cannot distribute this equally, yet we also participate in building the country. Madam Speaker, it do take up to 4 years to get a license. 4 years, by the time you get your license, you are out of the business. Madam Speaker, my neighbor is insisting she wants to inform me. With your permission, if you would allow her.
Honorable Doris, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, when she's talking of the licenses and she's saying she doesn't understand those people in the county,
to inform her that they have the committees.
What is your point of order?
I'm informing her that
Do you want to be
through
informed,
the national
Honorable
government. Okay. Do you want to be informed?
Madam Speaker, I didn't say I don't understand the county. I said that the county government are not given the full mandate. So if she wants to inform me on other areas, I would allow her to inform me.
That would be a fishing expedition because she's already told you what she wants to inform you on. You either accept the information or continue because other people are waiting, other members are
Let
waiting.
me allow her to inform me. Information is power.
Women are the best. They like to, they are wise. They want information. Thank you, Madam Speaker. The county MP from Migori, on the licensing part, Madam Speaker, the national government, through their directors, who do nothing, have decided to delegate the responsibility to the county committee on mining to give licenses to these miners. Shockingly, Madam Speaker, they even don't give to the license, they don't give to the miners, they give to the buyers. So let them do their work. They give to the miners so that it can be a win-win situation. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Continue, Honorable Fatuma.
Thank you for the information. Madam Speaker, bottom line is the small-scale miners are not protected with the rules and regulations that govern the mining sector. I'm requesting the government also to look into the security and the life-threatening areas that they work under. Like in Macalda mines, we don't even have lights. Our women, after going through all this process and tiring event, by the end of the day, they retire home. Some are, their gold is taken away from them by thieves. Some are raped on the way.
Hold on, Honorable Fatuma. Honorable Rahim, what is possibly out of order?
Madam Speaker, the information Honorable Donya has given is completely wrong. She's misinforming the contributor because the licenses are given by the Ministry of Mining and not anybody else. So why is she misinforming the contributor? It should be removed, Madam Speaker.
I would like to hear from the chair, Honorable Gekaria.
It is true, Honorable Speaker. It is important to have facts, right? For you to get a license, it only comes from the national government and the Ministry of Mining. So the licenses which are given at the county are consents for somebody to be able to do prospecting. So that if you want to do prospecting of gold or copper, you have to get a consent. But the proper license has to come from the national government, and that is the Ministry of Mining through the corporation. There is a corporation.
Honorable Donya, did you say the licensing at the national level?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. What I can attest is the member just wanted to speak. He didn't listen to what I said. I said the counties have the mining committees. True or false? Do they have, Mr. Chair? The counties?
Address the speakers.
Yeah.
Honorable Doris, address the speaker.
So that's what I said. I connected national government and county government.
I
So the
heard
member
you.
looked at his
Honorable
watch.
Doris,
Yes.
I heard you very well, and you had actually said that the licensing is being done at the national level, at the county level, at the delegated powers by the national level. So the actual situation is what Honorable Chair has confirmed, if you agree. And you have eaten to the time of Honorable Fatuma. Kindly wind up.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I agree with the chair. What I'm complaining about is not where the license is being processed from, the duration involved. Because when a small-scale miner applies, and it takes 4 years, for an example, a person who applied last year, but one is still waiting for the 4 years. But this person applied when it was 20,000, and it has been hacked to 500,000. So what will happen to this person? She or he has to go back and apply again and wait for another 4 years again. By the time she or he gets the license, she's out of the business. She's old, she's tired, or any other issue that may arise. So I'm requesting the government. The small-scale miners are the backbone of the economy in this country. Gold is a very precious item to the rich and even to the poor. So I'm requesting the government, kindly, don't just support the rich. Don't support the investor only. Support the small-scale miners because they are the majority.
Honorable Fatuma, if you wish next time this is on the floor, you'll have a balance of 4 minutes. But in the meantime, order members, honorable members, and the time being 1 p.m., this House stands adjourned until today, Wednesday, 19th February 2025 at 2:30 p.m.